Studios of WFAN in New York and simulcast across the country via the ES Network. This is Mike's Francesa on the Fan for this Wednesday program, the 17th day of October. As we see just how many days are left in this very, very strange Yankee October. After another night, as the passion play unfolded again, and you know this Yankee season has taken on such a almost perverse finish. It has become such a strange season, you know, with everything that has unfolded. You know, this team that battled valiantly down the stretch of September and fought its way after a very long pennant chase, after blowing a 10-game lead into this postseason. But once this postseason started, it has been, you know, just such an odd postseason and such a hard postseason to explain. There's no explaining what we have watched. I mean, the world's upside down. I was thinking this last night after the game was over, and I had watched a lot of the stuff. You know, I was up late last night watching some of the post-game for the Yankees, a lot of the obviously, debate analysis, which I like to watch. And I was thinking, can you imagine if I had said that by the 16th of October, we would consider it to be baseball insanity to pinch hit A-Rod with the game on the line for Raul Ibanez? How would that have been possible to make that statement that, hey, how could you ever think of pinch hitting A-Rod for Raul Ibanez? Think about if I took you back a couple of months or I took you back a year or two. Could you imagine ever in your life uttering the statement that with a playoff game or maybe your playoff life on the line, with the game on the line in a one-run game, that you would not only think twice, you would not consider pinch hitting A-Rod for Raul Ibanez? That's how crazy. Now think how long it took us to get here and what had to happen for us to get to that moment. Ibanez, who had been basically banished in September, had to put forth these dramatic home runs and these amazing displays against Oakland and Boston and Baltimore. And A-Rod had to completely unravel and have the team basically state in blinking neon letters that he's through. Pinch hitting, benching, pinch hitting. And one thing you can always count on from A-Rod is that he will react badly to any display. Perfect example, last night. Here you have one of the most storied athletes of this generation in any sport. I mean, A-Rod, whether you like him, dislike him, whatever, he is an iconic figure. He actually transcends sport. Everyone knows A-Rod. He's one of those figures. There they are now opening up their pregame on TBS, and A-Rod's not in the lineup. And they have the cameraman shoot A-Rod. Okay, that's TV 101. Okay? Director's in the truck, cut A-Rod. Okay, take A-Rod, boom. Instead of A-Rod, you know, saying what would be a natural inclination, either scowling into the camera or get the camera out of my face, you know, or get low. Hey, buddy, you know, move the camera. You know, that kind of thing. As he sat on the bench in, obviously, annoyance. What did he do? This is a minute before the game started. He lamely smiled into the camera and said, "Hi, Mom." Like he was 16 and he was a freshman at Miami, getting ready to play the Miami-Florida State game. This is an athlete who has been on the grand stage for 2 decades. He has not matured. He doesn't know how to handle the... What you should have done there is either told the guy to get his camera out of your face or just looked at that camera like you could stare a hole through it. Instead, he dumbly gave you a goofy grin and a hi, Mom, like he was on American Bandstand. And you're like, what message are you sending America? You're goofy. I know you're uncomfortable at that point. I know you're angry at that point. You're not in the game. But you sure didn't show it. Looked like you were getting ready to watch a movie. And that is exactly what he sends. It's wrong take, wrong tude at the wrong moment. And you can't coach that in an athlete. And that's always, despite his glorious gifts, has always been part of his issues. You know he's rip-roaring mad right now. I mean, we all know that. He's got to be. But he doesn't know exactly what to show you or what to take. He can't go into a tirade because he'll be called selfish, and he desperately doesn't want to ever be called selfish. But you know what? Great players are selfish. All great players are selfish. That's part of what makes them great. All great performers are selfish. Because if you're not selfish, if you don't have a big ego, you can't be a great performer. Because if you don't think you're good in here, no one out there is ever going to think you're good. So if you're in there dying and you can't, I can't show I'm good, I can't, then no one's ever going to think you're good. And that's why, listen, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if they legitimately made it a baseball decision or they're angry about what happened or so-called what happened the other day or something else. Or who knows what's going on that we don't know about. I don't know. All I know is I only looked at it this way going into last night's game. And that's how I'll start about last night's game. I only look at it as putting the team on the field I think has the best chance to win that night. That's all. That's the only thing I look at. You'd hope it's the only thing they have an agenda for. If that's the case, last night's lineup wasn't what you wanted. It was very risky. It was very risky. Gardner was a risky choice. Now, have we reached a level, and this is kind of head-scratching too, where we're going to credit Gardner for foul balls? We're the Yankees. You're the Yankees. You're now going to credit a guy for going 0 for 4, not getting the ball off the infield, but he fouled some balls off? So we're happy? That's what it's come to? Hey, only struck out 3 times against Verlander. We're making progress. Oh, great. Verlander told you after the game he didn't have anything after the 4th inning. And he was 2-0 and 3-1 on every batter, throwing 90-mile-an-hour fastballs down the middle. So the Yanks were able to foul him off. Wonderful. They couldn't get a hit. The last thing in the world Leland ever wanted to do was go in that bullpen last night. He didn't have any interest in going in that bullpen. Verlander was done after the 8th inning. He was on fumes to Nunez until he hung an 84-mile-an-hour curveball, which Nooney hit out of the park. Nooney's not going to miss a pitch like that because Nooney can hit. He can't field. They got away with that last night. That's a story for another day. They did get away with it last night. He didn't get a lot of balls hit to him. He actually made a nice play last night. But we all know that if they put him back there tonight, and the ball starts going there on the ground, anything's possible because he can't field. He can hit. Listen, we've talked about him hitting for a long time. He can hit. He cannot field. Last night it was not an issue. And I'm not getting into Chavez's error last night because anybody can make an error. So, I mean, Chavez can make an error, so what? Anyone can make an error. But Chavez is 0 for 14 and he's in the lineup. He's 0 for 14. You're sitting down on the mortal play. The guy's 0 for 14. If he's 8 for 14, you can say, listen, the guy's 8 for 14. The guy's 0 for 14. How do you put your best team on the field? It's just the watered-down expectations. Joe put 3 guys in the lineup last night. They went 1 for 10. That's good now? I guess nowadays that's good, 1 for 10. They went 1 for 10. That's what it's come down to. And how would you, if you sat A-Rod and if your reason was baseball and you sat him last night, and they were never going to pinch hit him last night. I mean, he never moved. He was never even loosening up. He never was getting a bat. He was over there basically still with the high moms in the 9th inning. So they were never putting him up. If they got into Chavez's turn, they were never putting him up. Well, now, tonight, after last night, a pitcher that he did hit well. Tonight's a pitcher he hasn't hit well. So how would you possibly ever put him in the lineup tonight? Because you would be basically saying, well, you're right, we should have put him in last night. We're putting him in tonight. Well, tonight you would be admitting you made a mistake last night by putting him out, taking him out of the lineup. Because last night's a guy he had hit well. Even this year, he had hit well. Tonight's a guy he hasn't hit. So how the heck are you going to put him in the lineup tonight? So you're back to the same stuff. And it's almost like now, it's okay. As long as we mix things up, well, at least we can say we tried. Doesn't matter if it works. Doesn't matter if it doesn't work. As long as we mix things up, we can say, at least we tried to mix things up. Because, banking on a guy who hadn't been in the lineup since April is not a great way to go. So, and listen, it's not about the manager here. It really isn't. Unless, he's just listening to the organization. But they're not hitting. I mean, Sol Cano got a single in the ninth inning. We'll have a parade. It was 0 for 30 when he got a single. And we all know Ibanez had a bat, and no one can get on Ibanez because the Yankees wouldn't even be here without Ibanez's heroics in the last month. So we all agree with that. And I knew he was going to leave Ibanez in. I didn't have high hopes for Ibanez's at bat against the lefty last night. I didn't, but you know what? Hey, he's done enough. You can't get on him. I'm not getting on him. But you just saw more. The Yankees were almost proud. Girardi was almost proud of the fact that they only struck out 3 times last night. They had 1 run on 3 hits off Verlander. That's a guy they have hit well in the past. They wasted another good performance, a great performance from the bullpen. When Phil Hughes leaves, you're saying, what's going to happen to this game? And their bullpen did an insanely good job last night. I mean, we can all sit here and say all the right things about, hey, they're not dead. We've seen it. We've seen it firsthand. The team come back from 3 games down. CC tonight, step in the right direction. That's all fine. But if you're going to tell me this team playing like this, with everything hanging over this team's head, is going to turn around and win 4 games in a row, I mean, come on. All right? We're not doing a postmortem. They very well might win tonight. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they do win tonight. It doesn't mean they're going to win tomorrow. And it doesn't look like things are going to get any better here. It just seems like it's almost like the die is cast now. But we're not going to begin the postmortems until we have a dead body, which we could have as early as this evening. Against a pitcher who, you hear he might have a bad arm. If you look what he's done lately, he has pitched really well. And he's pitched like a real power pitcher. Scherzer's good. Real good. And he's put up very good numbers of late. Strikes out a lot of guys. He's pitched very, very well. So, again, it is this ponderous team that, look, Nooney will probably be at short tonight. Wasn't even on this roster a couple days ago for this series. He didn't even have a role in this series. And Gardy was going to be a pinch runner, and now I guess he's going to be batting leadoff tonight. Why? Because he fouled some balls off last night, which I guess is better than, going out on 5 pitches. Go out on 8 pitches and say, hey, I hit the ball. So what if I hit the ground to the first base or second base or the pitcher? So what? I hit the ball. That's what it's come down to now. If the Yanks make good, it's like Little League game, good contact. That's what it's become. Joe's yelling good contact as they go bounce another ball into the dirt. That's what it's become. Hit another ground ball, saying good contact, good hustle. These are the New York Yankees. Good hustle, good contact. As they go out one after another. I think the Yankees, until the Nunez home run, which was a good at bat, I don't take that away from Nooney, I think they hit 1 ball hard all night. Maybe 1. Maybe 1 ball. There wasn't hard outs. There wasn't line drives. There was nothing. That's how feeble and just anemic this team has become. But I know the topic. 3 out of 4 will be all about the same thing. We know what it is. We'll get to it right after this.